the street lights lit this town like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now. Good evening, everybody. Welcome on in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. What is today? Wednesday? Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. Don't rush it, you know? Well, maybe for some. Maybe for some, if you're working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, then yeah, rush the week, you know? But if that's not the case, then maybe you don't care if you're rushed. But it is Tuesday, the 3rd of June. And you're here with me, TitaniumBuilt / Tanya. If you're new to the channel, you can call me either or. And if you're coming back for another round, welcome in. Welcome either way. So it's good to see you guys. I did forget, if you guys didn't know, I forgot to schedule the live. I had it all scheduled. I had it all set up to like schedule it. And I forgot to just put the thumbnail on and hit schedule. I don't know what was going on. So Ashley wrote me, was like, "Are you on live?" I was like, "I am now." Yeah. So I did. Yeah. I accidentally forgot to schedule it. So, you guys always know I'll be here. That's why I scheduled it for 9:20. Give you guys an extra 5 minutes. If it even sent out any notifications at all, I don't even know if it did. And I want to thank you, True Crime Lullabies, for the PayPal for the other night. Thank you so much. I appreciate that tremendously. Thank you. I saw that actually tonight. Hey, Cyber Warrior. Hey, Ladybug. Hey, Mary Beth. There you are. She said, "Oh my God, I got a crown." You haven't been in there really since they started that. Basically, what the crowns are, it just shows that you're active, like you're one of the most active people in the chat. So it's just a way to get people to come into the chats and chat, like who doesn't like a little competition, right? And who doesn't like having a little crown beside their name says number 1, number 2, or number 3? And you can also get them by like sending super thanks or super chats. So it's either like you can do both, like, just a combination, but it said on the thing like super chats, super thanks, and just being in the chat and just chatting. And that's free. So you can get it for just being in the chat. Hey, baby girl, welcome in. I saw you said you had a long day, or you have a long day at work, or it wasn't long. Probably long, but not too bad. Hey, Claw. I don't know. My sister-in-law does hair. I don't know if she loves it or hates it. I think when she did it full time, she didn't love it as much as she loves it now, because she does it only part time now. And she's done it for a really long time. I mean, like a really, really, really long time. She needs to do my hair. I'm just looking at the chat as I go through. True Crime Lullabies. I just got Botox done for my migraines, and I've been getting headaches the last 2 days. I don't know why. And then I had a procedure today done on both of my feet, and I wasn't expecting it. Hey, Dion. I was like, sure, let's just do it. It's called like an inclusion or something. I don't know. They told me not to look. I was numb, so they shot me up with lidocaine. Is that what it is? Lidocaine? So I couldn't feel nothing. Hey, Truth Mama. Well, probably because you've been looking at baby-related items. Mine was the Bojangles ad. See, I don't have ads. Now I kind of want to know what my ads are. I could turn them on. I mean, like not my ads, but like not on YouTube, but like I could turn on my ads on my different articles that I read. I always have the ads off because y'all don't need to know what I'm looking at. Plus, it's probably going to show up K-bar knives. Really? We should try it out. It probably would. If that's probably what would show up, because for my laptop, I don't do really a whole lot of anything else on it other than just stuff for the, for the channel. Hey, Ash. There she is. Welcome in. Hey, Jog. Welcome in. It's good to see you guys. Hopefully you guys got the, YouTube alerted you, because I forgot. Hey, Captain. And there's Willows. How you doing? It's good to see everybody. Hey, Amanda. And did I say hi to you, Dion? It is Taco Tuesday. I didn't have tacos. We had bibimbap tonight, I love bibimbap. It's like one of my favorites. Hey, Tom. Good evening. Sorry I'm taking my time tonight, guys. I'm just waiting for you guys to kind of get in the chat, give you guys a couple minutes so we don't rush off and then everyone's like, oh, where are you guys at? Hey, Aries. It did. Thanks for asking. It was a little more than I thought it was going to be, but it went well. It was the podiatrist today. I went to ortho yesterday, podiatry today. I feel like an old lady when I say like I'm going to like podiatry. Like, no offense to people that go to podiatry, but like I feel like that's something that you do when you're like older, right? Like when you've been on your feet your whole life. I feel like, I don't know. Hey, Michelle. Hello. It's good to see you, Aries. Hopefully you're doing good. All long day, 3 colors and a wash blowout. Oh, wish I could blow out my hair. I try. I just ain't. I think it's the patience or something. Or the hands. I don't have the hands. I need the hands of a stylist. I would love to know how to like braid hair, like braid my own. I saw that. So someone was telling me about that actually. Did you guys hear about that? Let me see if I can pull it up on X real quick. I meant to actually pull it up. Hey, I don't know what website I was about to go on, but it said it wasn't secure. Let's see. I know that it was like all over. I actually have it on let's go to my profile. Okay. Here we go. Maybe okay. They do have a little bit of information about him on this one. Okay. So this is really sad. Let me see if we can pull it up. Is this the one that okay, yeah, we'll go with what he's talking about. Okay. So this is going to come from Crime with Bobby. He's on Twitter, X, whatever it is. But I trust his reporting. So these are going to be these little girls here were all found. Oh, let me pull them up. They were all found dead. And welcome in, everybody. I'm just going to go down to the bottom here. And if you guys don't mind, if you could hit the like button, we're just going to hit this case up real quick. Hey, Nancy. Ash, 27 months. Look at that. That's a long time. Man, I keep y'all around here for a while, don't I? And Dr. Aries' podiatrist feet judging contest. The doctor is in. That's funny. That's really funny. Hey, SSD. Hey, mi amore. Welcome in, everybody. I'm going to this is going to be, they exist. Welcome in. So I heard about this today. Now all of the articles are from today that I've seen. I was trying to see on this one. We'll read this little article. It says on May 30th, they were left with him. So, oh man. So I have what do I have up right now? Okay, the pictures of them. So let me share this. Actually, let me share this with you. Look at this picture. I don't know if it's one that I'm going to share with you or not, but these little girls were beautiful, beautiful. But they're from Washington. It says 3 Washington children who were last seen with their father during a planned visitation have been found dead. Police found, and I don't know if I'm saying these names right, but I hope Peyton Decker, 9, Evelyn Decker, 8, and Olivia Decker, 5. You know who this reminds me of? Chad Dowerman. He had 3 boys, like the same age, like close to these ages. They were a little bit younger, but they were found deceased at 3:45 p.m. Monday near their father's white 2017 GMC Sierra truck at Rock Island Campground in Chelan County. The Wenatchee. Okay, I don't know how to say that. Sorry. Wenatchee Police Department announced Tuesday. Police have not revealed the causes of death. Police said they have not located the father, Travis Decker, 32. And this is him here. He is currently wanted on 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of kidnapping. I don't know why only 1 count, but it is unknown whether Decker is currently armed, but he may possess a significant risk if approached, police said on Facebook. And it says the children left with Decker on May 30th. The police department stated that Decker is homeless and living in his vehicle. Well, not anymore because they found the kids by his vehicle. Or at various hotels, motels, or campgrounds in the area. Okay, everybody that travels, listen up. Everybody that lives in campgrounds or travels to campgrounds, listen up. Look at this guy. I mean, just, take a good look at him. Wow. The visitation was part of a parenting plan, but he has since gone outside the perimeters of it, which is not normal and cause for the alarm. Well, that's the cause for the alarm. The 3 dead children that are his wasn't the cause for the alarm. What the? Anyone with information on Decker is urged to call 911 immediately. He is described as a white male who stands at 5'8". Oh, wow. He's my height. 190. That's pretty big. He was last seen wearing a light shirt and dark shorts. So, says he was ordered to have a mental evaluation and probably just didn't go. But yeah. Yeah, I wonder if they'll, I mean, they're going to find him. I wonder if they'll find him alive. Homeless. I mean, maybe no girlfriend, no wife. The baby's mom's not with him, so killed his daughters, maybe, allegedly, probably. I mean, really, what else you got to live for? I hope they find him, though. I hope they find him because we went through this with Aaron Pennington. They still haven't found him. Yeah, they found the truck, but that's where they found the little girls. So he doesn't even have the truck. Oh, I couldn't even imagine being the mom. Do you think she knew? I mean, but it was part of the parenting plan, so it was like she had to let them go with him. She didn't have a choice, or she could be arrested, right? Isn't that what they do? They like could arrest you for that if you're like, no, he's not taking them, or you know what I mean? Like when it's like in custody paperwork, the police would just come and then release them to him, right? We don't know. They're not releasing the cause of death in this article anyway. So in this article, they didn't release it. I was thinking maybe a GUN, but I don't know. Because they said like the way they said that he was like not like they didn't say he wasn't armed, but they didn't say he was armed. Where did I say? It says, oh, right here. It is unknown whether Decker is currently armed, but he may pose a significant risk if approached. It's like, so it's like, it doesn't really give you much, you know? Yeah, you're right, Tom. Yeah. But usually if they are killed like this, they'll release the details. Like they'll release some of the details, you know, like maybe not how they were killed because maybe they want to save that for trial, but they'll release some things, you know, like we've done a lot of kids cases on this channel. We've learned way too much stuff about some kids, you know. For instance, Gannon Stalk was a big one, you know. Quentin Simon found out just like stuff out that even Sebastian Rogers, we found out stuff we shouldn't have even found out. We didn't even need to know. But we're going to move on. We're going to move on toward the to Idaho, and I will keep my my eye on that, and I'll make sure if anything else comes out, if they catch him, when they catch him, I'll post it. And if there's any more that comes to the story, we'll definitely cover it. Also, I forgot to tell you, if you are interested in this, Lil Wayne, he is going on North America tour. And so if you guys, you know, I'm just saying, if you guys want to know that, I saw that on Twitter and I got excited. I was like, ooh, and he's coming to Ohio a couple nights. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But this article is extremely interesting that I found. I was looking for something just over Bryan Kohberger's life, like before, you know, Idaho. And this, I've never seen this article. It's pretty long, but it gives you a full detailing account of Bryan Kohberger's life. So we'll go through it. Then we'll go through his Tap Talk posts, not all of them. I will give you the link if you want to go through all of them. We've been through all of them before, but we'll just review a few of them that were like the biggest ones that stuck out the most. And then after that, we'll play the podcast that is going to be the season finale for the first season. So it's a little bit longer than the other ones. So it'll be an interesting live. So sit back, relax, and, you know, enjoy. I'm going to put my glasses on because we're going to be doing some reading. I always swear there's fingerprints on here. There's probably not, but, you know, if there is, just excuse it. So a dense gray cloud settled above Monroe County in the first days of February, blocking the sun's attempts to break through. More than a month since the U.S. shifted its gaze to the Royal region, a shame has fallen over its residents, the result of an incomprehensible crime on the other side of the country. Situated below the forested hillsides in Broadheadsville lies the Pleasant Valley School District's two-story brick campus where Bryan Kohberger went to school and later worked. 2 weeks after Martin Luther King Day or Jr. Day, a quote from the holiday's inspiration still featured on the district's public message board. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. In December, Kohberger was taken into custody in the cover of night, instantly a quaint community used to the calm of its remote geographical Can't even say it. Became a new epicenter for the widening investigation into November's University of Idaho homicides. That Advil's really getting to me already, making me loopy. I'm just kidding. But I did take some Advil. The 28-year-old alleged killer hails from the area's bundle of townships and was staying with his parents when law enforcement burst in and ended a 7-week manhunt. And they did. They busted in the door. They busted in the windows. They busted in everything. One tormented community grew to 3 as news surfaced that Kohberger, a Washington State University graduate student, was arrested in eastern Pennsylvania, some 2,500 miles from the crime scene. 4 college campuses were entangled in the tragedy, but unlike the sister cities of Moscow, Idaho, and Pullman, Washington, grieving together, Kohberger's hometown was made to ache in isolation. Hey, princess, welcome in. For the community here, it's devastating, said John Gress, the principal of Pleasant Valley High School, when Kohberger graduated in 2013. Out of all the schools, out of all the areas, why it's disappointing, and I don't know if we'll ever find out why. I don't ever remember the principal speaking out. Some of the people that speak out in this article, I never really, I don't remember them really speaking out before. Neighbors of the red-roofed 4-bedroom home on the acre in nearby Effort, Pennsylvania, where Kohberger was raised, were just as astounded. For years, their children took the same route to school from the same corner bus stop as him. They remembered the quiet, heavy-set boy who was picked on over his weight. He sat up front and mostly kept to himself. Today, Kohberger is charged with first-degree murder in the stabbing deaths of 4 college students, U of I seniors Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez, each 21, juniors Xander Kernodle, 20, and freshman Ethan Chapin, 20. And Kohberger's old neighborhood is left to try to make sense of a senseless act. No bells ever went off, said Barbara Tokar, 58, a nearby homeowner and mother of one of Kohberger's classmates, adding that her daughter told her she never noticed any possible warning signs. It makes me sick in my stomach. You never know. You just never know. Natori? I don't know how to say that. We'll see what it says on the computer. Natori Green, 27, grew up 4 homes from the house where Kohberger lived, and they both graduated from the high school in 2013. She recognized the unusual nature of such national attention on the small community where the school district remains one of the country's largest employers. You see it on the news. It's surreal, Green told the Idaho Statesman from her driveway. Since moving back home with her family after college, Green said she heard about the passing of several Pleasant Valley classmates, rattling off the list of causes: drugs, car accidents, drugs, military, drugs again. Sounds like people that are my age, when I get on Facebook. That's why I don't get on there. Drug abuse is a problem in the area. The region has one of the highest rates of overdose deaths and one of the worst hit states for the U.S. opioid epidemic. And I can attest to that. My cousin died of that, and it was in Pennsylvania, not far from Kohberger, where he lived. Kohberger had his own lengthy battle with drug addiction, several former friends told the Statesman. Although a number of deaths and incidents concerned past schoolmates, Kohberger's situation is entirely different, Green said. It's actually very sad, and there's a lot to take into mind and factor, she said. We don't know why, and it's sad to hear on both sides. Why does she say this is different? Why is his entirely different? Because she knows him? I don't know. For Kohberger's former circle of friends during high school, the allegations were immediately jarring and difficult to comprehend, even for those familiar with his unpleasant side. It's hard to put into words, Thomas Arntz, 27, told the Statesman in a phone interview. It was the initial shock of hearing what he had been accused of. My first thought was, where is he now? Are my parents safe? Because you couldn't process it all at once. Arts remembered Kohberger as similar to himself when they met in their early teens, awkward and fairly reserved. During hangouts after school and on the weekends, they bonded over video games and wandering the wooded neighborhood. I think it's Arts or something like that, said he came to appreciate Kohberger's sense of humor, wit, and ability to observe. And then his sister also knew him too. But Art said he hadn't spoken to Kohberger in about 8 years, having chosen to cut ties because he said his friend's personality grew grating over time. Kohberger would frequently play mind games with him, including once when he was upset after the death of his aunt. He made clear to Kohberger that he wasn't in the mood, but his friend refused to relent with what Arts called psychological mistreatment that became more commonplace. He always wanted to be dominant physically and intellectually, says Arts, who was a year behind Kohberger in school. He had to show he was smarter and bigger than you and try to put me down and make me feel insecure about myself. So much of that was a torment, and I didn't want to be around him anymore. I wouldn't want to either. By high school, Kohberger told friends of his interest in law enforcement. His sophomore year of high school yearbook features Kohberger dressed in a uniform and in the midst of a push-up during his law enforcement class at the county's half-day technical school. Kohberger hoped to become an Army Ranger, the caption read, but his interest was primarily law enforcement, Art said. The program helps students eventually become police officer, firefighters, or EMTs, said Donna Yozwak, Kohberger's guidance counselor through most of high school. And this is the lady that did some of the talking. She was like trying to tell people what he did, but she couldn't tell people what he did, to get kicked out of the program. His parents, who also worked for the school district, were active in attending meetings to help steer their son, she said. So was he in meetings before this incident? I didn't know that they were in meetings. I recall no problems. He was a regular kid. Okay, why are you going to be lying? Because you're going to tell us about a problem. And thankfully, his parents were involved in his education. Yozwak told the Statesman in a phone interview, adding that she remembered Kohberger as a good student. I don't recall anything that was out of the ordinary. Oh, okay, she retired in 2017. But no, that he would have still been there. Or he would have been out of school by then. Gress, the high school principal until retiring in 2017, told the Statesman he was an administrator who made efforts to get to know the students in 2 decades in the position and 41 years in the school district. Or he was, sorry. He only vaguely recalled Kohberger, he said, in part because Kohberger was enrolled half of the day at an off-campus technical school and wasn't involved in any after-school activities offered by the district. Well, that's why. He didn't do, I'm surprised he wasn't on, the cross-country team or something like that. What's the other one? Cross-country track? You would think he'd be good at, cross-country. If he's trying to be, popular or something, pick up a sport, right? People like watching people play sports. Girls like guys that play sports in high school. Maybe he couldn't be disciplined enough to do that back then. I don't know. What many people do remember of Kohberger from his high school years was his considerable weight loss. The dramatic change occurred between his junior and senior years, Arts and 2 other former friends said. Kohberger started kickboxing every day after school and running in the evenings with a neighbor. He also became hyper-focused on what he ate, his friends recalled, to the point that he developed an eating disorder that required hospitalization. I don't remember hearing about that. Jack Bayless, 28, another of Kohberger's inner circle at the time, told the Statesman. Do you guys ever remember hearing that he was in the hospital? Now I feel like I do. But I feel like it's been a long time. Maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I dreamt it. Do you guys remember him being in the hospital for an eating disorder? Because I always thought he maybe lost the weight because of the rugs, but maybe not. Maybe not. He did get a tummy tuck. Yeah. So weird. Oh, and have you guys seen the scars from a tummy tuck? They're still big. They're not small. I looked him up one day because, I was looking up stuff on Bryan Kohberger. And they were like pretty large. Let me see if I can find like an image that's not like scary, you know. I was gonna try to find like a cartoon image. Yeah, they like cut you from side to side pretty much. So, wonder what he had. What kind? There's like different ones. Didn't know that. Oh, but yeah, I'm looking at them. Okay. They're all gross pictures. So I'm just gonna they're large though. They're like from one, like, man, jeez Louise. It's like from one side to, you've had one? Really? These ones, the ones I'm seeing online, they're from like one side to the other. Like, I've had so many surgeries, but that's making me hurt thinking about it. Like I've had my eye removed and I'm like, tummy tuck, no. Now I have had, I will say this, they were going to take fat out of like my stomach to put it into my face because I needed it for the structure, like to, but my doctor, she was a resident at the time and she was so great. She was like, we're not cutting her in the stomach. No way. So she had him cut me on the side where my underwear or like my bathing suit can cover it. She's like, because she's a woman and she needs to cover it. Like, you know what I mean? It was going to be like a 6-inch scar. I was like, thank you, lady. Love you. So I can understand the scarring. Like, I wonder if he was like self-conscious about that. Like, I wonder if he was when he was at the pool party, if he was wearing like a t-shirt or if he was okay with his body and he was just like, whatever. So, hey, B. Marsh. So, wow. It says Arts estimated that Kohberger weighed more than 300 pounds and the amount he lost was as much as half his body mass. And it was so rapid that Kohberger had tummy tuck surgery because he was left with so much excess skin. Arts and Bayless said, oh my gosh, that's the first time I've actually seen it in writing. The tummy tuck thing. Like, oh. Kohberger's high school yearbook photos from his sophomore through senior years reviewed by the Statesman showed his physical transformation. During the same period, Arts said Kohberger's personality also shifted and he became more aggressive. Arts provided similar details in an interview with the FBI, he said. It almost seemed to me he had a desire to be the alpha. For no reason, he tried to grapple me and put me in a headlock when I didn't want to. He tried to portray it as just boys being boys, but that's not the way I ever took it. Years later, after Arts enlisted in the U.S. Army and was deployed overseas, Kohberger sent him a Facebook message offering his congratulations, he said, and apologizing for how he treated him when they were younger. Arts said he didn't respond. Wonder why he was apologizing for it. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what made him want to apologize for that. We'll probably never know. Yeah, I don't think he has an alpha personality. Well, not that we've seen anyway, right? I mean, not in court. I mean, he did get 2 girls' numbers, they said, at the pool party, and that could be, I guess, like confidence and alpha and, being alpha, but I want them ladies to come forward. I want to talk to them ladies. So Monroe County rests at Pennsylvania's northeastern edge, bordering New Jersey, and is just 1 county over from New York state line. Consequently, the Poconos region sits adjacent to the nation's largest heroin trafficking hub and market, according to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. Pennsylvania maintains one of the nation's highest rates of drug overdose deaths annually, consistently in the top 5 in recent years, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported. In 2020, Monroe County far outpaced the state in the category, ranking 3rd among Pennsylvania's 67 counties, according to the latest data available from its Department of Health. Wow. By comparison, Idaho and Washington state routinely rank in the bottom 20 nationally for deaths from drug overdoses. Between the 1990s and 2010, Monroe County's population nearly doubled to 170,000 as more people from Pennsylvania's neighboring states flooded in during Kohberger's upbringing. The close of his high school career and the years that followed, the close of his high school year and the years that followed, Kohberger's friends said he marked by a marijuana habit graduating into heroin addiction. Whoever this guy is beside Kohberger, Nicholas Coleman, or him and this Arden, these guys, they probably hate that they had their picture beside Kohberger in the yearbook because their picture's been everywhere now. I would hate that. I graduated in 04. I don't even want to go back to that. Kohberger attended the county's technical program his sophomore and junior years of high school, but he switched for his junior year from law enforcement to focus on heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, like his father, who worked in maintenance at the high school district for the time. Well, that's not why, but for reasons that are unclear, Kohberger had transitioned out of the technical school his senior year to earn his diploma through the high school program online. Yozwak said, well, that's because Kohberger was messing with some girls or something in the class, and they made him go to the heating and ventilation or whatever it was, the HVAC program. Neither Kohberger's HVAC instructor, who today works as a technical school administrator, nor his law enforcement instructor returned interview request from the statesman. Tanya Carmela Beers, I don't know, was at that time a technical school administrator who oversaw student discipline and mental health. She remembered Kohberger, she told the statesman, and acknowledged that her interactions with him would have fallen within that scope. Carmela Beers declined to answer questions about Kohberger, citing protection of such information under the Federal Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, but she spoke generally about the circumstances that could force a student to change their focus within the program. Sometimes, depending on the disciplinary offense and any issues surrounding it, it may not be the student's choice to be removed from a program, particularly a program that might have many rules and regulations in place. She said this by email, noting that law enforcement program barred certain behaviors. In general, a student can be very strong academically and perform very well in clinical work, but one or more infractions would take the opportunity to participate in that program away. Casey Arts, 29, who graduated high school 2 years ahead of Kohberger, also was among his circle of friends, along with her younger brother, Thomas. As an upperclassman, Kohberger started spending time with another group of high school kids with whom she and her friends didn't gel. That's what it says. Honestly, I feel he was looking for validation, and that's why he fell into that crowd. And honestly, it's why he fell into the whole drug scene. Jeremy Saba, a neighbor 2 houses from Kohberger's childhood home, was part of that group and introduced Kohberger to heroin. Bayless, Casey, and Thomas Arnez said, Saba and Kohberger can be seen together in a photo that Saba posted on Facebook in August 2016, 4 months after Saba was arrested and charged with the DUI and misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. He later pled guilty to both charges, according to Pennsylvania court records. And I believe that is the guy that's also he's clean now, and he works in the helping other people get clean. It says, I don't like him personally because he got my boy into heroin, Bayless said by phone, mentioning his falling out with Kohberger for several years after his drug issues. I think drugs goofed him pretty bad. He was having a time. He'd tell me, I'm clean now. I'm totally clean now. And he'd be bleeding track marks on his arms. Kohberger had no criminal record before he was charged. Okay, so that means, that's a lot to take it. Let's go back to that. So that means he was shooting it up. And so he was shooting it in a way to where people would notice that. So if his friends are noticing that, his parents had to have noticed that. Right? I mean, you can't just close your eyes on that one, right? I know I knew a girl. This girl was amazing, amazing. And she started dating a guy and they started doing this stuff. And you would never think this girl, not in a million years, but she would hide it from her parents because she would do it in her like feet. I think maybe between her toes. And then she would hide. That's how she would hide it from her family. But he didn't do that. This is saying, hey, they saw marks on his arms. It's like, I don't know. I just wonder how, like, if his parents ever knew, other than the cell phone thing, if he was in any other trouble, which I'm assuming that he had been, because I don't think your parents call the law on you the first time you do something wrong or bad. Even like, they usually give you a few times to mess things up. But it says here, Kohberger had no criminal record before he was charged with 4 counts of murder and 1 count of felony burglary in the November 13th Moscow homicides. Saba was arrested again in September 2018 for misdemeanor possession of a controlled substance, pled guilty, and received a year probation. In March 2021, Saba, 27... Wait, then this was a different person. Okay, because this person died of an accidental drug overdose, according to Monroe County coroner. The person I'm thinking of is the guy that had like the dark hair and it was pulled back in like the ponytail. Maybe he'll be in here somewhere. He had like the interview with Ashley Banfield. So that was like one of his friends. Maybe that could have messed him up too. In high school, Kohberger also started using heroin with classmate Ashley Flugel. Thomas Arnaz said. Flugel later faced a raft of drug charges in 2017, 2018, including a felony count of intent to distribute a controlled substance. In May 2018, before her court appearance, Flugel, 23, died of an accidental drug overdose, according to the county coroner's office. Between Kohberger's frequent invites to smoke marijuana, he told KCRNS in March 2023 that he finished his online school requirements early, according to screenshots of Facebook messages that Arnaz provided to the Statesman. He was looking forward to college that August, Kohberger wrote. About 2 months later, Kohberger reached out to her again to ask for a ride after he said his car broke down, and she agreed to help him. The message showed. Weeks later, Arnaz came to learn that Kohberger's errand was actually to buy heroin and needles, she said. You could buy the needles too with the drugs? Really? Really? You could tell I never bought it before, but I didn't know that they provide you the needles too. That's just crazy. That's crazy to me. Don't do drugs, people. He literally used to get he literally used me to get it. She told the Statesman, I was freaking out and not happy. I had heroin in my car and didn't even know. The correspondent show Casey Arnaz sent Kohberger a message that May scolding him for putting her in jeopardy. Had Kohberger been caught, he responded with 3 words. I'm in rehab, Kohberger wrote. He offered an apology more than 3 weeks later, which she rebuffed. She said, honestly, I don't want to hear it, and I wouldn't want to either. Shortly after high school in January 2014, Kohberger again reached out to Casey Arnaz to ask how college was going. The Facebook message showed she responded that she was stressed out over school projects. Be proud you're making something of yourself. I'm not, haha, he wrote, saying he withdrew from college because he had to go to rehab. Life after was dull. During the work week, regulars slid in to occupy one of 10 seats at the bar at Lynn's Motel on State Route 115 in Effort almost as soon as the doors unlatched at 4 p.m. One of the first in on a Wednesday is a school bus aide just off work. She grumbled about losing a lunchtime bout with a stubborn piece of rye bread and knocked out 2 of her fillings, one of each side of her mouth. She's ready for her usual Seagram 7 and Sprite and make it a double. Sounds like my grandmother. Adorned with time-worn red carpeting and wood panel walls of the local watering hole is one of few left in the area that patrons are all over first name basis. A metal sign behind the bar declared the establishment a fallout shelter with a folded piece of paper beneath it carrying a scrawled message that draws reoccurring laughs from customers. Do your drugs elsewhere. That's a pretty good sign to have. The bar doesn't see a lot of new faces when it gets one, especially if they're visiting from Idaho. It garners the interest of the staff and the everyday clientele. They were all following the quadruple homicide case too before I improbably landed on their doorstep with Kohberger's arrest late last year at his parents' house just up the road along the oak-lined byways. I was watching the news and saw that they caught him, bartender Amy Mittler explained. And it is in Albrightsville. What? That's a mile from my home. Overhearing word of an out-of-towner from Idaho, an Army veteran seated in the corner of the bar with a pencil-thin mustache and a firm grip on a bottle of Coors Light chimes in. Not from Moscow, I hope, he said. Well, welcome to the Poconos. Next door to Lynn's is a roadside pizzeria formerly called New York Pizza Girl. Kohberger worked there in 2013 and 2014. This is the guy that worked with him. Okay, so this is the guy that I was thinking of. Rich Pasqua, a Pleasant Valley High School graduate, a few years older than the suspect, told Fox News and the New York Times last month Pasqua did not return Statesman's request for an interview. I'm going to call it Pasqua. I don't know how to say it. 31, who works at a drug rehab clinic in the area, said he and Kohberger would use heroin together. He didn't have many friends, so he would do anything to fit in. He was a big heroin addict, and so was I. I worked in treatment and everything, but back then I was using, and so that's how I know for a fact he was using. I got high with him a couple times. Charles Conklin, 61, owns the building the pizzeria occupied, as well as the neighboring fish hatchery that includes a stocked lake where people pay to fish for a variety of trout and bass. In the summer of 2011, Kohberger briefly worked there a few months as well. What the hell did he not go out of the area? He worked at they were like side by side. So the pizzeria, he worked there, and then he worked at the fish. Okay, Kohberger. It says, in the summer of 2011 that he briefly worked there for a few months, cleaning people's catch, Conklin recalled, and Kohberger wrote on a high school district job application obtained by the Statesman. He wasn't there long, however, because Kohberger didn't show himself to be very personable with customers and also wasn't improving at filleting the fish. He let him go. You've got to be good. You've got to do a good job on your cuts. You have to be friendly to people. At least try to make some eye contact, Conklin said. It just wasn't his thing. Within an hour of Kohberger's arrest in December, Conklin said he got a call from a former longtime employee who reminded him of the high school kid they fired more than a decade ago. The revelation floored him. There aren't words to describe how disturbing it was, Conklin said. We're a small area, small community, so for things like that to happen, shocking, totally shocking. I know this is shocking for everyone, and for him to be from this area and actually worked here, it's almost unbelievable. I would be thinking about the knife that he used to unalive the 4 victims, and you telling him that he is fired because he can't fillet a fish, and then he kills 4 people with a knife. I mean, I would, that's what I'd be thinking about. I mean, I really would. I can't help it. I would have been thinking that. Let's see. Where are we at? There aren't words to describe. Okay. So several years after they last spoke, he and Kohberger reconnected. Bayless said the two would exchange Facebook messages, and Kohberger would call him to talk every week or so. Kohberger told him he no longer used drugs when the subject came up. At some point, he said, "Don't ever bring it up again. We're past that," Bayless told the Statesman. In 2018, Kohberger told Bayless in messages on Facebook that he hadn't used drugs in 2 years, according to screenshots Bayless shared with the New York Times. "I only used when I was in deep suicidal state," the Times reported. Kohberger wrote to Bayless. I have since really learned a lot. Not a person alive could convince me to use it. Okay. So apparently, he was clean and he wasn't going back to it. That's what he says. Casey Arnaz said she rented a Kohberger a year before that at a mutual friend's wedding, which was the last time she saw him. He appeared to have pulled his life together, she said, and shared that he was in college and working as a security officer for the Pleasant Valley School District. It was so good to see someone come back from the dark place, Casey Arnaz told the Statesman, saying she gave Kohberger a big hug when she greeted him. He was kind of very standoffish and not very sociable. I believe he left early as well. I'm not going to blame him for that. Kohberger started with the school district in 2016 as a fill-in custodian and courier before moving into the security part-time, according to documents the Statesman obtained through a public records request. He was later accredited in December 2018 with helping save a life of an employee of the high school after a medical emergency. In response to the records request, the school district cited Pennsylvania exemptions in withholding several documents from public disclosure. Among them were those related to non-criminal complaints, written criticisms of employee and discipline records of personnel file. Kohberger resigned from his position in June 2021. Records released by the district showed. The Pleasant Valley School District did not respond to the Statesman request for comment beyond the public's records request. Kohberger attended Northampton Community College in Eastern Pennsylvania and graduated in 2018 with a major in psychology, according to a school spokesperson. The school is unwilling to say anything else about Kohberger, directing all other questions to law enforcement. Kohberger went on to earn his bachelor's degree in 2020 and his master's in 2022 from DeSales University, according to a statement the university released the day he was arrested. The university is about an hour south of the home where Kohberger's parents moved, and he continued to live while in college, public records indicated. DeSales faculty are not accepting interview requests about Kohberger, a university spokesperson told the Statesman by email. The university will cooperate with law enforcement's investigation however it can, she said, but declined to offer specifics. Nobody want to talk about Kohberger. Kohberger majored in psychology for his bachelor's. Boyce Julian, chair of DeSales psychology department, told the Philadelphia Inquirer the day of his arrest. He received his master's through the university's online criminal justice program. Michelle Bolger, professor in DeSales criminal justice department, told the Daily Mail last month. Catherine Ramsland, a famed forensic psychologist who teaches in DeSales criminal justice master's program and collaborated on a book and with notorious serial murderer Dennis Rader, better known as the BTK killer, confirmed to LehighValleyNews.com that Kohberger took at least one course with her. In an email, she declined a Statesman request for an interview. But right there, it just said that he took all of his criminal justice classes online, just like yours truly did, meaning me. So he wouldn't have met Catherine Ramsland in person if he was taking all of his classes online. And it said right here, it said he received his master's through the university's online criminal justice program. So I'm thinking online. Last summer, before Kohberger started at Washington State's Criminal Justice and Criminology PhD program in August, he posted a research questionnaire to Reddit seeking volunteers to discuss their decision-making and behavior in the midst of committing a crime. Bolger told the Daily Mail she helped Kohberger with the project, which was part of his master's thesis at DeSales. Then we have Jordan Sherlock, 34, owner of Seven Sirens Brewing Company in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, just north of DeSales, thinks Kohberger was through his tap room a handful of times from 2020 to 2022. Sherlock told NBC News in December that he approached the man he believes was Kohberger to ensure he behaved while at the brewery after female patrons and staff said he previously made them feel uncomfortable and made rude comments. It looked like him. His name was Bryan, and if it was in that time frame, Sherlock, I don't know how to say it, recounted to the Statesman this month while seated at the bar. He seemed dumbfounded, finished his beer, and I never saw him again. Since then, he's been hounded by members of the media and people who said he was just chasing publicity related to Kohberger and the Idaho homicide case. He rejected the notion, saying he's turned down interviews with Dr. Phil and documentary projects underway about Kohberger. Okay. I don't want anything about this. He was just a customer we had to address. It was anticlimactic. I thought it would have blown over by now, but I still get calls. Well, you should have known that when you said a murderer, alleged murderer, was sitting at your bar. You're going to get a lot of phone calls. A lot. I don't know what that is. Why does it say my trial expired? I don't know what that was for. I don't know. I don't know what this is for. Okay, no thanks. Oh, it was for us to, I was going to try to boost the sound one night with it. Okay. But I didn't end up getting it. I don't think I did. I hope I didn't. Okay, I'll figure it out later. Let me write that down. So I don't forget to figure that out later. Because I didn't sign up for anything. Because I ended up being like, oh, I don't want to sign up for something. Because it was like right in the middle of our live. So, and my sound booster wasn't working that night. Okay. So then says Kohberger showed similar behaviors while attending WSU's PhD program. Fellow graduate school classmate told the Statesman last month during the fall semester, he said to be increasingly condescending towards women in class discussions. In December, Kohberger was fired from a teaching assistant position for failing to meet the norms of professional behavior. He had repeated altercations with the criminal justice professor under whom he worked, did not improve upon his conduct and performance, and also exhibited concerning behavior around female students, including allegations he followed one to work hard, the Times reported. WSU faculty at their end of year meeting chose to pull Kohberger from the role, eliminating his funding for the PhD program, according to the Times. The university sent him a termination letter on December 19th, 3 days after the end of finals for the fall semester, Kohberger's first term at WSU. By then, Kohberger was back home. He had left Pullman for winter break, driving across the country with his father in a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra and arriving at the family's house in Pennsylvania on December 16th, according to a probable cause affidavit. Kohberger was arrested at the home on December 30th and on January 4th was flown to Idaho, where he awaits his next scheduled court appearance in June. This is an old article. 7 weeks after law enforcement extracted him from his outlying area of the Northeast, community members said they remained baffled. Donna Yazwak, Kohberger's high school guidance counselor, said she immediately remembered Kohberger as word of the incident spread across Monroe County, where she still lives. Like many, she said she was shocked. Despite the nation's ongoing attention on the case, including the intense focus on the Poconos, well, not really anymore, Yozowak said she wants to see the judicial process play out properly. Perhaps then, she said, those impacted can begin to heal on both sides of the country. I'm watching the news as well as thousands of other people, she said. I'm just hoping that this all works out and just that the truth comes out. That's all we can hope for. Well, the truth's coming out. Bless you. Bless you. Did you hear my dog sneezing? He sneezed. It was cute. That was really cute. Okay. So we got through that. That was a long one. Oh, yeah. TitaniumBuilt at gmail.com. I'm going to actually change my email in like a week or so, but I'll let you guys know when I do. Hey, Real McCoy. I was just reading your guys' stuff. Wow, 911 dispatcher wouldn't be a bad job. If you could be cool, calm, and collected, I'd probably be running around in circles. My dog is snoring like a drunken sailor. Yeah, I got one like that back here. She's not snoring quite yet. She wanted to cuddle with the other dog, and it was so sad because the other dog didn't want to cuddle with her. Would you stop? I don't want to do this. No, thank you. Maybe later. Not really maybe later, though. I don't know how to get this to like I'm trying to like shut it off. It's just like not okay. That's fine though. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, that would be underpaid actually, $20 an hour. You're talking to somebody on their worst day, their worst minute, their worst moment. I mean, really, if people are calling 911, it's usually pretty bad, you know? Unless you got like them people would just be calling in there 'cause they're lonely or something. I had to put my seat down a little bit. Okay, so I wanted to go over a few of Bryan Kohberger's Tapa Talk post. Tap Talk is a forum, kind of like a just discussion forum that you can go and you can go to like kind of like a Reddit in a way. And then you can make like different like kind of like subreddits that they have. And he was in the Visual Snow forum. So this was back when he was, I believe, like 16. He was in this group. And it says here that he was a regular. It was between 2009 and 2012. So yeah, about that age. Actually a little bit younger. Below are some of the more relevant posts that he made. So these ones were the best, like the most relevant ones that he had made in there. But he did make over 118 posts. I have them all here. And I'm gonna put this link in the chat. That way you guys can have it if you want to look at all of them. We did do a video going through all of them. So these ones, there's a few here. So yeah, these are telling. Now I'm wondering why we're not using the Visual Snow as a part of our defense. I mean, Kohberger, why not, buddy? You know, I mean, if you have Visual Snow and it's been affecting you your whole life, pretty much. I mean, it's been most of your life, according to these posts. You would think that you would just go ahead and try to use that as it can't be used as a defense, but maybe as a mitigating factor? Is that what it means? Or, whenever they come to sentencing. So I don't know. You think that he would be talking about it? Hey, three sides. Oh, and we're going to do a members live on Thursday. I was maybe tomorrow, but I might be a little exhausted after I go to the doctor tomorrow. So one more doctor's appointment. Okay. So this is his Visual Snow on the Tapa Talk. He talked about his Visual Snow on the Tapa Talk forums between 2009, 2012, September 23rd, 2010. And this is Bryan Kohberger talking. So just maybe think it's him. I can't remember anything recent or anything from childhood. I used to be able to remember everything from my childhood and everything every day for a month before me. Now I am just a blank soul living in the now. What hurts the most is knowing that every time I try to remember things from the past, I can't. And my mind is so hung up with VS, all the migraines, VS effects mentally, the buzzing in my ear, that I can't even focus on that. I got it September 21st of last year, and ever since then, I have been depressed. I can't remember anything at all, and I always have this horrible pressure in my head. My mind is never not on Visual Snow, and I always wonder what a normal person would be doing while I sit there and I suffer. The whole thing has made me crazy. I feel like my life is pointless because people can think about times with parents/childhood memories and be happy, and I won't be able to. To me, it doesn't sound like Visual Snow. It sounds like you want someone to feel bad for you, bro. January 15th, 2011. I have had VS since September 21st of 2009. Okay. The date's staying the same. Since then, I have changed mainly from the anxiety and sense of derealization and hopelessness. Today, I felt a deep heartbeat in my head, one that felt through my eyes and all over my head. I get this a lot, but never think about it. At times when I lay down and then get up for something, I get this feeling in my head that is weird. And then I see this bright white version of VS. I also feel the beat. My theory is that VS seems to be a migraine related, but in reality, it is just a weird thing that occurs for some people where the arteries and blood vessels in one's head are inflamed for a large amount of time. I am sure no MRI would pick up slight inflammation from the veins and arteries that pump through our heads. I always have this weird feeling in my head, and to me, it feels like something inflamed in my head. We need to try to figure out a way to stop the inflammation. I think the anxiety causes VS. Why do you think migraine pills don't work for VS? Obviously, because we don't have inflamed parts of our brain. We have inflamed blood vessels, veins, whatever you want to call them. Thank you, Three Sides. I'm so sorry, love. I was trying to post flip table, not middle finger. I'm dying. That's okay. Oh, do you hear the dog now? Thank you, Three Sides. She's back there whistling. Mia. Hey, your tongue's hanging out. Weirdo. She's the weirdest. Okay. So May 12th, I'll just see where we're. I always feel as if I am not there, completely depersonalized. Mentally, I experience fog, lack of comprehension at sometimes, feel like my life is a movie, depression, no interest in activity, constant thought of suicide, crazy thoughts, delusions of grandeur, anxiety, poor self-image, poor social skills, no emotion. I feel like nothing has a point to it. When I get home, I am mean to my family. This started when VS did. I feel no emotion, and along with a deep depersonalization. I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse. Everyone hates me pretty much. I am an asshole. Well, I mean, I guess at least he was honest. I mean, I don't know if he really is or not. I'm going to go with yeah. I'm going to go with a big yeah. Good night, Willows. Okay. We're almost done with the reading. We can get to the podcast. Okay. So then on June 10th, 2011, I feel blank and so generic. I can barely remember my eventful childhood. As I try to think of my childhood, I become upset and into a depressed state. July 4th, 2011, I have had this horrible depersonalization go on in my life for almost 2 years. I often find myself making simple human interactions, but it is as if I'm playing a role-playing game such as Oblivion. I can see what's going on. I'm slightly into it, but I can pause the game and focus on my real life. In this case, my real life is the game, and my old self can be reached by pausing the game, but how? I often think of things that humans do, things I have done my whole life. I feel like an organic sack of meat with no self-worth, as I am starting to view everyone as this. Everything I have ever done makes no sense. How did things get this way? How am I wearing this shirt, and who decided that humans shall wear shirts like this? Are we all just advanced animals with possession, or is there more that I can't see? I can't connect. I view everything as I would if I'm playing Oblivion, pointless and full of nothing out of reality. I am moving out of my house. My last holidays are already lived, but where was I? You're not moving anywhere at this age. I don't know why he says this, but as my family group hugs and celebrates, I am stuck in the void of nothing. Out of reality. Feeling completely no emotion, feeling nothing. I feel dirty, like there is dirt inside of my head, my mind. I am always dizzy and confused. I feel no self-worth. I am intelligent, but I feel the opposite. I say things I don't mean. The last holiday in my house, the house I grew up in, the house I once contributed to, the house I once felt at home in, is past. As I hug my family, I look into their faces. I see nothing. It is like I am looking at a video game, but less. I feel less than mentally damaged. It's like I have severe brain damage. I am stuck in the depths of my mind where I have to constantly battle my demons. I am here, or am I fake? I feel myself slipping away. I hear screams faintly, but I constantly battle away from it. What if I let go? Where would I be? Would I ever come back to reality? I try to remember where I originated from, but I can't. I barely remember my childhood. I often fear being 80 years old, alone, and having faint memories of my parents, everything I missed out on. I think about my father, what a good man he is, how I treat him like dirt because I have this condition and I can't take it. I might spiral out of control and lose myself in the void. I can't let it go. All I all of these regrets I predict for my future self, all of these thoughts of remorse. I got this when I was in my stage of discovery. Now I look in the mirror and see the sickly, tired, useless, and stupid man in the mirror. He is a complete disgrace. He doesn't even deserve to live. Well, that selfie you took, I mean, that was, you seem like you were pretty okay with, with life on November 13th. So, I remember when I was 15, I would wander alone at 2 a.m. Everything was so generic. Now, nowhere felt like home. I saw things that were not there, a different reality. I felt eerie and alone. I died during those nights. I felt like a criminal. But where was my record? I can't talk without flinching now. I used to be this healthy, blonde haired boy with blue eyes. Never saw him with blonde hair. Okay. And in a few years, I have darker hair and darker eyes, half the body weight. Where did I leave off? I try to sleep. I try to clear my head, but the pressure won't go away. The pain and depression won't leave. Being me is this horrible disease that I was given. I think of this as I succumb to sleep, but I see a large intensity of black, yellow, white fuzz. It makes my mind fizzle, and I can barely keep in the bounds of reality. It is as if I'm ringing in my ears, and the fuzz in my vision is simply all of a sudden demons in my head mocking me. I fall asleep, but I wake up quickly to bloody screams. No, it's just the way he words things. Okay, so yeah, I fall asleep, but I wake up quickly to bloody screams. Is any of this here? Am I brain damaged? No. Then why am I like this? I have these thoughts all in my head. I search for someone to relate to me. Everyone looks down upon me. No one can relate. As I try to read, suddenly my eyes look right through the words. When I look up, I see blue dots near the center of my vision. When I feel slightly calm, it gets hard to breathe, and I see bright dots in my vision. Nothing I do is enjoyable. I am blank. Have no opinion. I have no emotion. I have nothing. Can you relate? Well, no, Kohberger, I can't. Thank you, True Crime Lullabies, for the super sticker. I was trying to hit the little heart thing. Yeah, he was like 16 when he was writing these. Yeah. Yeah, Ashley, that's what I think too. I say this all the time. We'll say it again. I feel like we're going to have one of those episodes of See No Evil, where the parents come out, or like the family members of like these people that, these murderers or whoever, whatever they are, like, these really sick individuals that do really sick things. And they come out later on and they're like, when he was 5, he was trying to shoot his sister with the BB gun in the eye. We just thought he'd grow out of it. And then, the more and more they talk about the stories, the more and more they're like realizing, they're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Our kid was kind of messed up. But I have a feeling it's going to be like one of those deals. Yeah, I think, but I think he wasn't screaming to the right people. He probably was just, maybe he wasn't like telling his mom and dad that he needed like anything. Maybe they didn't see it and he wasn't saying anything. I don't know. Right, with visual snow, because he doesn't have no visual snow. Or they would have brought that up in court by now, you know what I mean? They would have brought that up. That would have been the thing. They would have said, how can he, just like you said, how can he move around a dark house with visual snow, right? Also, why would he be driving a car at night with visual snow? I mean, I wouldn't be. That's just me. Actually, I lied. I've driven at night. I ain't got visual snow, but December 19th, 2011. So these are the last two that I'll read, just shorter ones. I have had this for 2 years and I have had it bad in every single way. Not one night have I slept normal since, and I feel like I'm trapped here. I have been able to block it out for a while now, but I realize what is wrong and it suddenly becomes unbelievable. I am desensitized in every way now. People say these are supposed to be the years I enjoy and cherish. Well, I can't say I will cherish these dates. Well, you will now. You will now. February 20th, 2012. I have just accepted my visual snow finally. Coming to terms. I don't even feel the need to stay away from the forum. It doesn't scare me anymore. Anyone else come to terms? I feel like coming to terms could be a bad thing, though. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. And then I do have the rap for Bryan. Like, I can't play the rap, but I'm going to learn the rap. I'm going to learn this rap. I have like the words for it. I'm going to learn it. And then I'm going to get my own beat and I'm going to rap it. Because like whatever, like, it's not him. It's like, that like is copywriting it. It's whatever the music was that he decided to use, that beat. I mean, it wasn't a good beat anyway, but he used the bad beat. Okay. So this is the last episode in season 1. And there are 2 seasons. I don't know how many are in the second season, but I will check while we're listening to this one. And I'll put up some video or not video, but I'll put up some overlays like pictures and stuff. That way you guys don't have to just, look at me and look at this black screen. Thanks for being here. If you guys don't mind, take a second, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you, and yeah. If you'd like to become a member, I pinned up at the top a way to become a member for our channel. So you think so, Sandra? Maybe, yeah. Best beatboxing. I don't think I would do a good job. But I am a pretty good rapper. I'll say that. I'm good at learning the words to songs and remembering them. How Audie had a tummy tuck but didn't look for help for visual snow, Clausen. Right? Right. I agree. I agree with that. You would think that if he had something that was that severe as seeing dots, seeing things in front of your eyes, you're going to tell your parents, especially at that age. You know what I mean? You're not going to know what the heck's going on. I just don't see him not saying something about the visual snow. But thanks for being here again, guys. I'm going to go ahead and press play and we'll listen to this and I'll be in the chat with you guys.
Newly uncovered posts made by an online forum may give us insight into Bryan Kohberger's character.
Oh, here.
Between November.
Before we get started, actually, I'll tell you a little bit about what the episode's about. I think you guys kind of know, but this is episode 7. So this episode was released on September the 18th of 2023. It focuses on Bryan Kohberger's background to determine if there were indicators that he could have become a killer. It discusses newly uncovered post allegedly made by Kohberger on the online forum Tap Talk, which we just went over, from November 2009 to February 2012. When he was a teenager. In one post, he reportedly stated, "I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse." Suggesting, that he's kind of lacking a little bit of an emotional connection or empathy there. That's just personal opinion. But it says this episode aims to unpack whether a killer is born or made and examines factors that might have shaped Kohberger's character. So.
Of 2009 and February 2012, while Kohberger was a teenager, he allegedly made 118 posts, and in one of them he said he felt no emotion and said, quote, "I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse."
This is the Idaho Massacre, a production of KT Studios and iHeartRadio. Episode 7, In the Dark. I'm Courtney Armstrong, a television producer at KT Studios with Stephanie Lydecker, Jeff Shane, and Connor Powell. In July of 2011, a user going by the name XR posted on an online chat forum that, quote, The ringing in his ears and the fuzz in his vision made him feel that all the demons in his head were mocking him. The chilling statement is just one of more than 100 messages believed to be authored by a then teenage Bryan Kohberger on the website Tapatalk. In post after post, Kohberger claimed to be suffering from a little-known neurological syndrome called visual snow. The rare condition has a range of disorienting symptoms, but the most common is constantly seeing snow-like flecks or black and white scattered dots, like the static on an old analog television.
I see a large intensity of black, yellow, white fuzz. It makes my mind fizzle, and I can barely keep in the bounds of reality.
Kohberger wrote that his condition led to anxiety, depression, and, quote, crazy thoughts. These posts paint a picture of a deeply troubled person who would later turn to heroin and develop an obsessive interest in violent criminals. Kohberger's dark mind and law enforcement background has led many to draw similarities to other serial killers like Dennis Rader. Rader dubbed himself, quote, the BTK for his fondness to bind, torture, and kill his victims. And Joseph James D'Angelo, otherwise known as the Golden State Killer. Both had a history of disturbing thoughts and an intense interest in law enforcement. So how does Bryan Kohberger fit into the larger history of killers? What in his background could have potentially led Kohberger down a path to murder? How did he go from someone who caught criminals to potentially becoming a killer himself? Or could he have potentially evolved into a killer as he descended deeper into the dark world of criminology? When investigators released the probable cause affidavit in the University of Idaho murders, the 19-page document laid out much of the evidence linking Kohberger to the crime. According to police, the 28-year-old criminology student's DNA was on a knife sheath found at the murder scene. And a white Elantra, like the one Kohberger drove, was seen driving past the home on King Road multiple times. Kohberger's phone also repeatedly pinged on towers near the house in the weeks before the grisly murders. But one key piece of the puzzle was conspicuously missing from the probable cause affidavit: motive. Here's Jeff and Stephanie.
Motive is an essential part of the criminal justice process. Its official definition is the moving force, the impulse, or the desire that induces criminal action on the part of the accused. Basically, why did this crime or murder happen? As rational humans, we crave a justification for otherwise senseless and horrible acts.
I mean, it's a very important piece of the court process, and it's not a requirement to get a conviction, but look, jurors really want to make sense of a case.
This case is so fascinating, not only because of the sheer atrocity of the murders, but also because of the accused's trajectory and how complex it is. Up until December 2022, Bryan Kohberger seemingly had wanted to be a hero. He told his friends he had hoped to study high-profile criminals and aspired to help catch quote-unquote bad guys.
This is the part that doesn't totally make sense about this case. How and why does Kohberger go from that to being accused of brutally murdering 4 people?
I speak for the general public when I say we're all immensely curious.
I guess depending upon what is revealed at trial, we may get a motive at some point, but as of right now, there really doesn't appear to be one.
So it raises the question, was Bryan Kohberger born a killer, or did something happen in his life to turn him into a monster?
And one thing worth noting, listen, we don't officially know about Kohberger's mental state, but what we do know is what he said about his symptoms around his condition called visual snow. And that's probably a pretty decent place to start.
Understanding visual snow is still not fully well understood. A lot of how it works or how it's affecting the brain is under kind of hypothesis.
Kohberger wrote on the Tapatalk forum that his visual snow symptoms began in September of 2009 when he was just 14 years old. He admitted the condition changed him, saying he became more anxious and developed a sense of derealization and hopelessness.
I think for some people who have high anxiety over it or want to get rid of it, that's really the frustrating part because we don't have a cure for it.
Joseph Allen is a doctor of optometry who has studied visual snow. He also suffers from the rare condition. Here he is speaking with Jeff.
You obviously never treated Bryan Kohberger or know his state of mind, but for someone who's maybe not in the best state of mind, how do you think throwing visual snow on top of that would affect someone?
So there is associations with visual snow and with depression and anxiety. Those probably are the two most consistent ones. On top of like headaches, like a lot of people who have visual snow usually have a history of migraines. It's like almost 60% of people who have visual snow syndrome also have a history of migraine headaches. If you're somebody with visual snow and you're seeing visual phenomenon like this that you can't explain, that doctors maybe are being dismissive about, and you have other forms of anxiety or depression, I think it can really become more isolating. We know isolation breeds mental illness. I think there is maybe a higher risk factor for some of that.
In posts on the online Visual Snow forum, Kohberger suggests he turned to the internet in 2009 in hopes of finding help. But in the absence of answers to his questions, Kohberger said he felt like the demons in his head were mocking him. As a result, he grew distant from the people around him. In a July 2011 post, Kohberger wrote, quote, "I have had this horrible depersonalization in my life for almost 2 years. As I hug my family, I look into their faces, I see nothing. It is like I'm looking at a video game, but less. I am blank. I have no opinion. I have no emotion. I have nothing." This type of disconnection is common for people suffering from eye issues, particularly visual snow. Here again, Dr. Joseph Allen speaking with Jeff.
I have identified as having visual snow. I fit the diagnosis requirements. It's something that I've struggled with since I was a kid. Like I can think of like maybe 9 years old, third grade is when I first, I think, became just more perceptually aware of what was happening with my eyes. But like most people who have visual snow, they don't, either no one talks about it or we just sort of, you grow up with it all your life and you just sort of assume that's how everybody sees.
So did you go into optometry because you felt like you had eye issues?
I think there is definitely some pull there. At a young age, around age 7, 8, I got thick glasses. And ultimately, I think what drove me to be in the profession is because I got contact lenses. Getting contact lenses was allowed me to play sports, and that helped me make friends. And having that boost of self-confidence at age of 13.
It's interesting that you bring up how getting your eyes kind of taken care of really opened up a lot of doors for you socially and kind of changed your life for the better, because Bryan Kohberger struggled socially his whole life. He didn't connect with girls. He didn't really have a lot of friends. And so it makes you wonder, is it maybe because he couldn't see properly, like he wasn't connecting with the world the way he felt, he could have been?
I think eyesight is super important. Like for my case, sports, like kids make much better social connections if they're involved in activities with other kids. And for me, it was hard to play football. You can't really play football with thick glasses on. So for me, getting into contact lenses really was that key to opening up that whole other stream of life for me.
But by his teenage years, Bryan Kohberger wrote on Tapatalk he wasn't making personal connections with family or friends. Instead, his mind was moving in a darker direction. In posts as a then 16-year-old, Kohberger wrote that his visual snow condition made him feel like a, quote, organic sack of meat with no self-worth. He berated himself for his expanding array of mental struggles that ranged from depression to delusions of grandeur to anxiety to constant thoughts of suicide. Kohberger even wrote lyrics to a rap song saying, "You are not my equal, you are evil, but I am the devil. But now I am going regal. Don't fuck with us." Again, Joseph Allen.
There's no evidence right now that visual snow syndrome would cause mental illness, but it is, I think in his case, if he has mental illness and then a visual snow on top of it, it's like augmenting it. It's giving him maybe more reasons to lose grip on his own sense of reality, perhaps. There is some reported, on top of depression and anxiety, there is something called depersonalization and derealization, which is associated with it. Depersonalization it kind of refers to these feelings that you've detached from your physical body or even from kind of your own mind. And so people will feel that they are robotic or being maybe controlled by somebody else. And there's this concept of derealization, which I like to think of it as the Matrix syndrome. If you've ever seen that movie, The Matrix, where people feel like the world around them isn't real. They feel that it's artificial. And you can imagine if you have visual snow syndrome and you see this static all the time, you could be like, well, maybe my body is just like a video game character and somebody else outside of this make-believe world I live in is actually controlling me. So I think if you have already existing mental illness, a poor grip on reality, a poor social structure, and then maybe having these feelings of depersonalization, derealization, then it's easier maybe to lose emotional connection between other people and even maybe what's right and wrong.
Let's stop here for a break. We'll be back in a moment. By 2011, Bryan Kohberger was desperate for a solution. The effects of visual snow were weighing on him. He wrote on the online forum that he visited a neurologist and took anti-migraine medicine. Neither worked. Kohberger later adopted a strict diet, removing sugar, bread, wheat, soy, and other carbohydrates from his meals. High school friends described him during this time as obsessive about his new health regime, which did help him lose a significant amount of weight. At least 100 pounds, if not more. And, according to his own words, Kohberger began to improve. Kohberger wrote on the Tap Talk forum in February of 2012 that he had accepted his visual snow and that the condition no longer scared him. However, in his final post, he also said, quote, "I feel like coming to terms could be a bad thing, though." Again, Stephanie and Jeff.
Between 2012 and 2013, Kohberger went through this huge transformation. After several years of feeling very down and depressed, according to reports, he really started to turn things around and turned a corner. He adopted a new diet, he started to lose a ton of weight, and he was apparently much more happy about life and seemingly more optimistic.
But it's also around this time that he gets kicked out of the law enforcement educational vocation program and ends up having to finish high school remotely in the spring of 2013.
This is a pretty big deal, and according to multiple friends, this turmoil really spun him in a dangerous direction. He started to use drugs. Apparently, he started with marijuana, but then that really escalated to heroin, which is a huge leap.
One of his friends, Rich Pasqua, who worked with Kohberger at the pizza shop, said that by 2013, Kohberger was a full-on heroin addict. But he was eventually able to kick the habit, going to rehab and enrolling at the Northampton Community College.
It does seem that Kohberger has a bit of a history of locking in and almost obsessing about certain parts of his life, whether it's the visual snow or drugs, his diet, and in some ways, even his own criminal behavior.
This type of compulsive behavior is something we see with other serial or prolific killers.
After years of being socially detached, addicted to drugs, and suicidal, Kohberger appears to have found a new purpose after rehab, an intense fascination with the criminal mind. This fascination led Kohberger to study at nearby DeSales University and ultimately under the renowned forensic psychologist, Dr. Catherine Ramsland.
You have to study the victim and you have to know things about offenders. So you have to study offenders and you have to know the kinds of things they might do.
Ramsland is one of, if not the leading expert on serial killers and murderers. She's written more than 60 books and hundreds of articles on violent criminals. On December 22nd, 2022, producer Jeff Shane conducted an interview with Ramsland for a different project. Just 8 days later, her former student Bryan Kohberger would be arrested. In hindsight, their conversation is chilling.
What can you tell me about people who commit crimes?
So you're looking at the body and the crime scene, maybe the whole geographic analysis in terms of their comfort zone and et cetera. But you're also looking at what do we know about offenders to apply to this. And then you want to build as detailed biography of the person as you possibly can. It's all going to be probability based. More likely to have education than not education, or more likely to be compelled sexually because of certain rituals and nothing missing. But if things are always missing, well, more likely to be motivated by greed or in eliminating witnesses. Not really interested in the murder itself, more interested in eliminating witnesses while they get off with the goods. But if the victim is mutilated in some way, overkill, things like that, that's going to tell you a different story about the offender. So a lot of it's going to be based on what you're finding at the scene. There's a retrospective profile and a prospective profile. And too many people are doing the prospective profiling, and that is more of a risk evaluation based on a pattern of behaviors. Retrospective profile is what do we see right here at the crime scene today that will tell us something about this offender. And if we have several scenes that we think are related to the same offender, what do those various scenes tell us about this person?
Ramsland has refused to comment publicly on her former graduate student, but she is most famous for her extensive research and books about the serial killer Dennis Rader, most commonly known as the BTK. DeSalles University is known for its hands-on criminology program, and as an undergraduate criminology student, Kohberger would have studied Rader. As a graduate student of Ramsland, it's likely Kohberger would have studied Rader in depth. He may have even had access to Ramsland's primary research information about both serial killers and Dennis Rader.
Tell me about BTK and how modern-day criminals might have evolved since then.
These days, serial killers quite often are a little more sophisticated. They're aware of, the investigators are looking at patterns. But even back in, the 70s, sometimes they would have a ritual, so there would be similarities, but then they'll pick up a victim of opportunity, weren't even looking, but they had their murder kit, so why not go for this? And then it's completely different. I remember Dennis Rader, for example, the BTK killer, so 1970s into the 80s, and his final one of the 10 he killed was in 1991, and by 1991 he realized how the FBI approached all this. And so instead of killing people in houses that he entered, he took a couple of victims and dumped them outside. One victim, he called it in, none of the others. Several of them, he wrote notes to the newspaper, but not all of them. So he's not a particularly sophisticated person, but he did change things up a little bit. He murdered a family of 4, then he murdered a single woman. They didn't connect them at all because even though the bodies all were bound, he'd used different knots on the single woman than he had on the family. And he didn't do that purposely. He just liked knots and he was mixing it up.
How much Kohberger studied or understood about serial killers like Rader isn't clear, but there are unique and disturbing similarities between Kohberger and Rader. Both are accused of committing their murders while pursuing degrees in criminal justice. Rader was earning an undergraduate degree from Wichita State as he embarked on his killing spree. And as Dr. Ramsland mentioned in her interview, Rader mixed up his killing profile to evade investigators. When Kohberger was arrested, he was wearing rubber gloves and sorting his trash into smaller plastic bags in an apparent effort to prevent police from collecting evidence against him. In an interview with TMZ, Dennis Rader said he saw similarities between Kohberger and himself. The convicted killer of 10 said he believed Kohberger, like himself, was motivated to kill by the fantasy of homicide. Again, Stephanie and Jeff.
This is really the scariest question about Kohberger. We know that he told people from a young age that he wanted to catch violent criminals and be a police officer. Later at WSU, he said he wanted to help rural police departments solve crimes. So was this all talk, just a front or a ruse to get in with investigators? Did he want to figure out how they worked so he could operate around them? Given what we know about his teenage years, his feelings of isolation, and the demons in his head, is it possible that he had a longstanding desire to kill?
So, with that in mind, are you saying that possibly studying criminology was part of the plan to learn how to kill people without getting caught?
Exactly.
Or I also wonder if he has this personality type that's a bit obsessive. Was it possible that he's studying criminals at school because he's been obsessed with crime and fantasizing about being a killer his whole life? Or is it because he was studying criminology and about killers that he began to fantasize about it?
That could make sense, and he definitely could have used what he learned from his criminology studies to help him get away with murder, at least for a little while.
Let's stop here for another break. Bryan Kohberger's classmates and professors described him as intellectual, though at times arrogant and a bit of a know-it-all. One former professor from DeSales University went further and said Kohberger was a brilliant student. Michelle Bolger, an associate professor of criminology, wrote a letter of recommendation for Kohberger's PhD application, describing him as perfectly professional in all their interactions. She also advised Kohberger with his master's thesis on script theory, which focused on how and why criminals commit their crimes. As part of Kohberger's deep dive into script theory, the idea that people largely fall into patterns or scripts, Bolger oversaw the creation of Kohberger's request for criminals to fill out a survey on Reddit about their thoughts and emotions while committing a crime. Stephanie and Jeff.
This Reddit survey is just so interesting. Yes, while his former professor says that type of work is very common amongst criminology students, the specific nature of the questions and what he would later be accused of certainly raises some serious questions.
We looked up the original survey. He posted it on Wednesday, June 1st, 2022, which was 212 days before Xana, Ethan, Madison, and Kaylee were murdered. Here's what it said. Hello, my name is Bryan, and I am inviting you to participate in a research project that seeks to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. In particular, this study seeks to understand the story behind your most recent criminal offense, with an emphasis on your thoughts and feelings throughout your experience. The questions read, did you prepare for the crime before leaving your home? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this point. After committing the crime, what were you thinking and feeling? How did you travel to and enter the location that the crime occurred? After arriving, what steps did you take prior to locating the victim or target? Please detail your thoughts and feelings. How did you leave the scene? Why did you choose that victim or target over others? Before making your move, how did you approach the victim or target? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling. How did you accomplish your goal? Please explain what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving, is there anything else you did?
Jeff, what you said about this type of survey is pretty typical of graduate students, but it did get us curious if he had used any of this information in his thesis, and it doesn't appear that he did.
So maybe he didn't get enough participants and scrapped the idea?
Or he took the survey, collected the information, it was a ruse that he was using it for his thesis, and instead used it to plot murder.
If Kohberger was potentially using his academic opportunities to learn how to kill, one skill he potentially appears to have employed in murdering Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan is the ruse.
A ruse is something that the killer presents to calm the intended victim. While the killer knows he's going to be murdering them, he doesn't want them to know anything violent is going to happen to them. So he'll use a ruse to get them, perhaps, to go with them to a more secluded place. But even then, if he does something, he may present another ruse, even as he's binding them. Say, I'm not going to hurt you. I just need to do this. And it will vary with some of these different killers. But even when the person suspects something wrong, if the killer's not in the position to do everything they need to do, then they will try to calm them once more. And it'll be done by a ruse, which is usually what they say to them in the kindest way possible. And hopefully it'll be believed by the victim.
Kevin Sullivan is an investigative journalist and author of several books about the serial killer Ted Bundy. He sees several similarities between Kohberger and Bundy, who confessed to killing at least 30 people in 7 states. According to the probable cause affidavit, roommate Dylan Mortensen heard crying coming from Xana Kernodle's room, and then a male voice saying, quote, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." This effort by a killer to reassure a victim is common in pre-planned murders.
BTK did this. He would try to assure
Oh.
people that like nothing was going to happen, or it was for a different reason, or whatever. A lot of these people do this. The key is to get them calm. I mean, the mob does this. Sometimes the mob will go out and say, let's go spend a whole night with somebody, 4 or 5 of them. And then they say, let's go get breakfast or whatever. And they'll go and immediately kill this guy. And it was planned from the start. But what was the ruse in that case? Hey, these guys like me. We're friends. They're taking me out to breakfast. And the next thing you know, he's got a wire around his neck or he's been shot in the head.
Some killers use the ruse in a tense moment to calm a panicking victim. Others, like the serial killer Ted Bundy, would create elaborate stories to trick unsuspecting targets.
He said that he knew that he was hunting girls that were from normal, good families, and that they would be more likely to help somebody if they were either on crutches and fumbling with books, or they needed directions, or something else was asked of them. They would be completely unsuspecting.
In 1974, then 18-year-old Georgianne Hawkins was walking near her sorority house at the University of Washington. The disappearance of young women was front-page news at the time. Georgianne was well aware of the threat and had been regularly walking with friends. But after leaving her boyfriend's home, she set out alone on a well-lit road to walk the short distance to her house.
As she was walking home, she ran into a man who had a leg cast on with his pants are split. It was on, I believe, his right leg. He was fumbling with a briefcase and on crutches. That person was Ted Bundy. He asked her, would you mind helping me take my briefcase to my car? Of course, she doesn't think this guy with a cast on his leg, ruse. This guy with crutches, ruse. This guy who's so nice and articulate, ruse, is going to do anything to her. In her mind, she thought, yeah, I can help him. And what does she do? She takes the briefcase, they walk down the alley, and he had put his crowbar right behind his VW, his beige VW. And as she was putting the crutches in the car, he reaches back, grabs the crowbar, and he hit her in the head. He hit her so hard that both her earrings flew off and she came out of one of her shoes. He didn't grab those then. He put her in the car, and then he took her to a remote area about 20 minutes from there where she had awakened on the way, and he hit her again. And then he killed her soon after that. But the ruse played a part in obtaining her. If he would have had a bad look, if he would have looked like a criminal, if he didn't have the ruse of a cast or crutches, there would be no reason to help him. And so he tells Bill Hagmaier, he said he did all these things so that these good, kind women who were raised right would help me. So here you got a woman, Georgianne Hawkins, who knows about the women disappearing, who already assumes they're homicide. And yet she meets somebody that doesn't fit what her criteria is for an evil individual.
Yeah, she ended up helping
Kohberger
him.
appears to have potentially tried to use the ruse to calm at least one of the roommates. And if the 28-year-old had been fantasizing or even planning to kill for a long time, Kohberger could have been using the cover of a criminology student to prepare for those future murders. This type of long-term fantasizing turned organized planning is also common with killers like BTK and Ted Bundy. Again, Jeff and Kevin Sullivan.
He was kind of staking out the house. He would drive by it. He went there a lot, in the months leading up to the murders. Do you think that speaks to escalation? Like maybe at first he would just do a drive-by or follow them or maybe peer in their window, and it just becomes, you need a bigger fix. So maybe one day he goes inside, and then it just becomes more and more until it ultimately leads to murder.
I guarantee you that people that do this prior to the murder, they are thinking about it a lot. They are living mentally in that realm. And usually it has a sexual component to it, which will become masturbatory even prior to the event. just as some of these people visit these locations afterwards and have to sexualize the experience through masturbation. So I would assume that he was trying to not unleash and do as much. And remember, there's always got to be a first time. Once you kill your first person, you can never go back and unkill that person. You were forever changed. So if that attack and murder on those 4 kids, college kids, was the first one, and if that was Kohberger, then he was doing everything he could to maintain and organize himself as an organized person so as not to make any problems for himself until that time happened. So when he got in there, whoever got in there, if it was Kohberger, he either unleashed it himself or he just couldn't take it anymore. And that's what Bundy did. Bundy lived in this dark realm of sexual violent fantasy for so many years. It was going to reach a point in his faculties where it was going to tip over and he was going to cross over from fantasy to reality. That's where it's going, and that's where these people ultimately wants it to go. And when that first time happens, even if the person escapes, since if it's Kohberger, he might have been thinking right after the murders, in the days after, what did I leave there in way of forensics? Something Bundy didn't have to worry about. What happened there? Even if I had gloves, would anybody have seen me go in? It was probably pretty.
I hate when they cut him off the podcast like that. Hold on a second. That's so crazy when they do that like that. I thought we still had a few more minutes left. Let me see.
It's probably
Okay,
pretty
we
frightening.
do. It just cut it off, and I was like, "What's going on here?" Okay.
As to what may have happened that could ultimately cause his apprehension. So, in that case, would he be sitting back and planning his next murder? No. He'd be trying to get to the place where if I can just wait this out, and if I'm not arrested, then maybe I can go again. Do I think if he's the one that he would have ultimately killed again? Highly likely. It probably almost assured that he would, especially if he really enjoyed doing it. And if this person enjoyed killing with that knife while they were killing them, you got somebody that's going to be a problem to other people down the road.
Speaking of that, what are the traits of killers who hunt like Bundy, like allegedly Kohberger?
Well, I think the people that do this have a lot of things that are extremely similar. Bundy said, people have a hard time understanding. I did it because I just like killing people. Now that's it. That says it all. I just like killing people. Now, one thing these people do, they have a tendency to think that kind of they own them. They're like God or something. And they go, I decided whether they would live or die, and they died. But I was also there when they took their last breath and breathed out their last breath. And that's something that the family can't boast about, or no one can, because that's mine and that's mine forever. That's why the murders and the ground in which the murders occur, or even the dumping sites, if it's different, become very sacred to these people. And that is across the board. You can go to Arthur Shawcross, who would revisit the sites, and so many of them do. Bundy always went back to these sites.
We know that Kohberger did too as well. The next morning, at least based on cell phone tower.
Yeah, he couldn't wait to go back.
Oh yeah, he wanted to look at it. He probably thinking, well, my work's in there. I've done all this work now. I've done it. I've created my work. There it is. Does anybody know yet? Do they know yet?
More on that next time. For more information.
Okay, I'm actually going to play the season 2 trailer because that was season 1 that we just left off with. If you guys haven't been here with us the whole time that we've been watching these, I do have them on the Idaho 4 podcast, like Idaho Massacre podcast playlist. Say that 3 times fast, huh? And I'm still catching up because I'm putting just the podcast only on there, not the whole live. So that way, if you guys want to go watch just the podcast, it'll be on there. But I think I'm like 3 behind, and I'll be caught up by this weekend. But this is going to be the season 2 trailer, and this I believe it had like 11 episodes.
Information on the case and relevant photos.
Sorry, let me try that again. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why it was messing up there, but okay, let's try it again.
The #1 podcast, The Idaho Massacre, is back.
The new developments in the University of Idaho murder case.
It was an unimaginable crime. In the early morning of November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students killed.
Police have no suspect and no murder weapon.
A nationwide manhunt captivates the world.
Moscow PD saying today they're now looking for a white Hyundai Elantra.
Then, a shocking arrest.
There is now a suspect in custody.
This is a PhD student in criminology. This is the guy.
Will he be found innocent?
He claims he has an alibi.
Or face death? 1 house, 4 victims, only 1 accused.
If this is true, then this guy is the real life Dexter.
This is The Idaho Massacre, Season 2. Listen.
Okay, let me pull down the banner. There I am. Oh, my hair's kind of messed up. What's going on up there? Don't know what was going on up there for a minute, but here I am. Ah, I know, Captain. They always stuck on a certain person. I just don't know how they can still talk about her. I mean, I guess I could see it because it's easy to do, but I couldn't do it. Dexter didn't get caught. You're right. Well, I'll make sure I put a podcast on tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment early in the morning, 9 a.m. That's early for me. But guess what? I only have to come to here. This is like, it's a like over the computer. So it's so easy. It's, it just takes a lot out of me because it's a counseling appointment and I don't like to do exercises, like breathing exercises or like any of that. It just doesn't work for me. I've been there. I've tried it for the last 20 years. So I try to talk the whole time. And if I talk the whole time, then we don't have to do that kind of stuff, Hope she's not watching right now. She'll know what I do to get out of doing the breathing exercises. So no, that was the trailer for the new podcast. So that's going to be season 2. So we're going to watch that one. We'll start that one tomorrow. And I accidentally, with you guys, I played it like, instead of taking me to because it's season 5 on this, for some reason, it's not season 1, season 2. So the season 5, I accidentally played the first 2, a while back, but I think that we wouldn't remember it. So I think we'll be able to play them again. But I accidentally played the wrong ones. And I was like, whoops. But I did see that we might have to go over that case of the little girls too. If I can come on tomorrow, maybe during the day, those little girls that were found dead. I guess that they're saying that they do think it was asphyxiation. There was bags and zip ties in the area, and they had marks of zip ties on their bodies. They also found like 2 bloody handprints. I don't know if they were big or small on the back of his truck. I'm assuming that they were probably from him, but I don't know. Also, the mother did reach out to people like social services and stuff, I guess, and was saying that he was unsafe for their girls to be around. They weren't supposed to be spending the night with him at all, but this was supposed to be just like a day visit. So if that's the case, oh my Lord. Like, I mean, that mother, you know. There was no sound at all. There was sound the second time when I played it. Because I actually listened through the iPad. I was like, wait a minute, there was. Your own baby, yeah. Especially your own girls. There was sound on my side. That's weird. That's really weird. Stephanie, I'm a therapist. You're not a lady. That stuff doesn't work for everybody. Yeah, it doesn't probably. I mean, I like her. You know, I like her. She's really sweet. She's really, really, really sweet. Yeah, she could have went to the court and said no. Yeah, I don't know why she didn't do that. Oh, you're welcome, Ashley. I can play it again. I mean, it was only a minute long. Let me see. Because it played on it played like it was going through my sound on my iPad. It wouldn't come through my sound if it wasn't for everybody. Because I'm not like signed in like that. I'm not under StreamYard. So let me see. Did anybody else not have sound? Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Where it was. Here it is. Okay. I'm just going to put it up on the thing here, and I'm not going to put like any pictures up or anything.
From KT Studios, the #1 podcast, The Idaho Massacre is back.
The new developments in the University of Idaho murder case.
It was an unimaginable crime. In the early morning of November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students killed.
Police have no suspect and no murder weapon.
A nationwide manhunt captivates the world.
Moscow PD saying today they're now looking for a white Hyundai Elantra.
Then a shocking arrest.
There is now a suspect in custody.
This is a PhD student in criminology. This is the guy.
Will he be found innocent
He claims he has an alibi.
or face death? One house, 4 victims, only 1 accused.
If this is true, then this guy is the real life Dexter.
This is the Idaho
This is the one
Massacre, Season 2. Listen to Season 2 of the Idaho Massacre, a production of KT Studios.
So everyone should have heard that. Like whenever I played it before, but I don't know. That's weird. That is weird. But actually, that sounds like a fun job. I mean, kind of. Unless you were grooming my dogs anyway. Then you would need whatever you need for the big dogs that are the biggest babies. I don't even know what muzzles and what could you put on these 2 different, like, I don't know, tether them down or something. They're good with baths. They're just not good with nail clippings at all. So I held her one time, this big one, this big old dog that's like 90 pounds of pure muscle. I held her and I was like, Vincent, you just get her claw, right? So he's about to clip it. And she looked up at me with her doggy eyes. And I'm like, no. And I hit Vincent's hand. I was like, don't do it. So then I had to like leave the room for a minute and collect myself, because I was trying to hold on to her and he was trying to clip it. And oh man, she needs a whole lot of lovings, and she won't even let us touch her paws. Like when we go to touch them, she's like, or she'll show her teeth sometimes even. I'm like, oh man, you mean. She's a big meanie. She's just a big baby. She's the biggest of the babies that we have. The other one's back here. She was growling at her earlier because she wanted to lay on the floor with her big sister, and her big sister said no. That's weird. I bet you it's probably something with StreamYard because the sound was cutting out earlier. Like I was like, why is this off? Remember I said that? And then it just cut off. I was like, oh, okay. I don't think it's our internet. Looks like we're good. We're good on the internet side. Your Bassett's dramatic. Oh, our dog sounds like that, Ashley, when we come home. She makes this noise. It's like out of this world. It sounds like we're hurting her. Like it really does. If you weren't in here with us, you would think we were hurting her. Like it's like she sounds almost like a siren going off. Like she's super loud and like it's not a dog noise. I've never heard it before. Never heard this noise before and I have a dog. But she's just so happy we're home. And like we'll be gone an hour, maybe 30 minutes. It don't matter, She just gets very, very sad when I leave. She's like, give me my space. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, she was like, I don't even want you laying with me right now. I'm like, it's your little sister. He's fine. He's fine. He's just getting his nails cut. We had another dog like that, and we just had to leave. We couldn't even like be in the Petco place. Like they told us like to not even be on the outside of the glass. Like we were those dog parents, Oh, really? A tan and black Weimaraner? Oh, a tan one and a black one. Okay, I was about to say I've never seen them multicolored before, but okay. My girl's a sweetie, but they're both and naughty at the same time. She's both. That's cute that your mother has two. We thought about getting two. We thought about getting her and her brother, but we already had Araya, so we couldn't. We didn't want to do 3 dogs. Good thing. Oh my gosh, that'd be so much. Oh, that's cute. They just sits there. I had like foot procedures today and I was trying to take the dogs on a walk. And of course, every dog was out in the neighborhood. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm all bandaged up over here. But I can feel the numbing coming off of my left side. So I'm going to go put my feet up. And I have to go to the doctor early in the morning. So I'm going to jump off here. Oh, does he? Dale, I like that name. He looks like a Dale. He can't have a normal name. That's not a normal looking dog. Make a rap about the dog. I could. Thanks, baby girl. I will. It was kind of like we talked about it, the procedure. It's called like an inclusion or something. But the nurse had me scared because she said they were going to take off my toenail today. And I said, what? What? And then he came in and that's not what happened at all. I mean, he gave me a bunch of shots and stuff first, but but that's not what happened. She was telling me, she's like, don't look if you don't like if you're squeamish. I'm like, yeah, put me back. And like, she tilted me back. I was like, I'm just not going to look. I'm usually fine. I've been through enough. My eye comes out of my head for God's sakes. But like, it's just, I don't know. No, it's because my feet have been hurting. My toes have been like forming these calluses. I know it's TMI, but on the sides because I'm walking weird. So they gave me new shoes, like these new boots to wear around the house at ortho yesterday to straighten my legs out better because I think I'm walking like inward from the rods. It's from having the metal rods put in, and they're gonna send me to physical therapy. Fun. I hate physical therapy. I'm gonna try it though. I'm gonna try. Really, they're good with little kids. See, Mia, she's scared of little kids. She barks at them. I think she just That dog's just been too sheltered with me. We should have like taken them away from each other and, you know, maybe like got them a couple friends too, but no. That's what my ortho has me wear Birkenstocks. Yep. Because I have high arches and that's all I ever wear. But they, I don't know what it is. I still walk funny. I still be walking funny, I guess. And I've never had that. So like what he did was he dug the calluses out of my toes today and put this black stuff in. It's like to burn the root, which we've done that about 5 times and it hasn't really worked. So I'm going to definitely be getting me some new, actually I need some new Birkenstocks. So I need to get me some new ones. I think they'll feel better by tomorrow. Yeah. Usually I can walk around and everything. I think I just overdid it today. I like vacuumed and mopped the floors. Like I shouldn't have been doing that. So I shouldn't have done that. So I do have shoe inserts, but I never wear tennis shoes to where you have to take that one insert out to put the other insert in. So I'm thinking about that too, baby girl, because we have a good feet store next exit, like up. Your mom had that done? Yeah. Yeah. It hurts. It don't feel too good. You wore the ortho shoes when till you were like 7? They gave me orthopedic like inserts. I have. Oh, it's Tom, it's fun. It's a ton of fun. I'm just kidding. It's not that much fun. But you know, it could be worse. You know what I mean? I'm here. I got my legs. We're good. We're good there. Got my feet. They didn't drop. We saved them for that. So, you know, just other things. I always buy really nice shoes. I do buy expensive shoes. I will say that. Like I take good care of my feet compared to what I used to do. 3 pairs were about $1,200. Well, you know, that's not cheap. 3. Well, I mean, that's expensive, but if you can get one shoe, like one of my feet, I swear is like a ½ inch bigger than my other foot. Like if I could do that, get 2 sizes of shoes too, I think the Good Feet store would do that. Well, thanks, NB Marsh. But I'm gonna definitely try the Good Feet store, I think, because I need something. Need something for my toes. But that's what's good about being able to sit down when you can. But thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I'll be back on tomorrow evening at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll remember to schedule the live tomorrow. Unlike tonight, I forgot for a minute. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this